So I want to hear more about the healing journey that you mentioned in resolving that identity crisis. And it sounds like you found some peace in who you were as a person post, your athletic career. What went into that? What, maybe not one thing that really helped you, but maybe a couple things that helped you, find your way through what you were dealing with.
Yeah. Um, First of all, well, my healing journey, I started going to therapy for a couple of years, because that really helped me to like develop a really important sense of self-awareness. Because for whatever change we want to make in life, we first of all need to be aware that we want to change and what's happening what's our current situation, and then we have to accept, like, and sometimes accepting, like, bad things that we are going through is not a nice thing, and it's very difficult.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
the acceptance is very important, and then you're able to take action in whatever you have to do. So first, with therapy, I was able to develop a good sense of self-awareness, going to the root of the problems. And then after many years, I discovered coaching, and it was at that moment when I was able to fully, like, change my lifestyle, in the sense where I developed different tools to uh, to change my habits. Remember, I told you that I was coming from this past of feeling a void.
Yeah.
Used to feel the void with whatever, even with food, binge eating. Like, I felt sad and I went and ate so much, and then there's shame, and you fast, and all these like unhealthy eating patterns. So I had to relearn everything, even how to the relationship with myself first.
You're
The re-
rewiring your brain essentially
yeah,
at that
then
point.
yeah, exactly, relate the relationship with the people around me, all my habits. Like, imagine that the brain is used to operating like, oh, I feel sad, I need to eat a cookie and feel better. Like,
Hmm.
why are you gonna not do that if it's gonna make you feel better? It's really hard. So, like, training your brain, for training your neurons, instead of going in the highway, that is what you know how to do, they have to go through this new road that maybe it's like unknown, and it has rocks and stakes they have to like go around, so that's what you have to do, basically. And and coaching was what allowed me to learn all these tools. And basically now that's what I do. I specialize mostly in habits, eating habits or whatever. Habits are a reflection, and it's the way our brain expresses to us how it feels on inner habits.
Oh, that's a really interesting
Um,
way to put it. Yeah.
so, and it's very, very difficult, but having an accountability coach, the right guidance, knowing how to set goals, realistic goals, and, well, other different tools, everyone is able to attain whatever goal they have to. And of course, this depends on each person, because each person is bio individual, and what works for me won't work for you. So that's also very important to take into account.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing this coaching, and what do you specifically apply that you've learned to the coaching?
I started doing the coaching this year, and I opened my coaching business this year as well. It's called FTV, Health Coaching. And
Does FTV stand for fill the void?
yes, exactly.
Okay.
Because in my Fill the Void business, there's also, I have a podcast and like digital art, where, because of my design background, I created these like different pills and different antidotes that illustrate different ways we humans fill the void. So it's like, through parody, I want to raise awareness of how important it is for us to connect with our emotions, instead of numbing and trying to avoid, and then, um, being in this like position where we find ourselves completely disconnected from ourselves and from our environment. So, like, a way I raise awareness, and I like to express this, is with the different analgesics that you can find in my
Hmm.
website. Um, So yeah, can you
That's
repeat
really
me?
cool.
I
I
lost the.
No, no, I love the idea. I mean, especially the fill the void part, because I think it's a very human and normal experience to for all of us. We're kind of looking for something to fill the void of meaning, of purpose, of whatever. We all have goals and things that we're trying to achieve, and sometimes we, like you said, we numb it with relationships, with substances, with whatever distractions. We fill the void with them instead of something meaningful that will help us achieve those goals. So you mentioned that your kind of ultra competitive sports background affects what you do, perhaps positively and negatively. So how does that background, I mean, obviously it sets you up for what you do now and it's given you the skills and the background and the experience, but how does it impact what you do now in your work?
I love this question, but before answering it, I want to add something because you said the
Sure.
word purpose. And this is what I always say that, people tell you like you gotta find your purpose or your sense in life. And when I think about purpose, I'm like, what is my purpose? Like, how am I gonna find that, And it's not about finding anything, it's just a matter of putting what you have to put, the attitude that you have to put into creating what you wanna do, and that is the purpose, is your work to creating whatever you want to create.
So it's more about the journey than the end goal of the purpose.
Exactly, and this answers my last question, that is what I had to unlearn in this life regarding sports, is that, because of being in a highly competitive environment all my life, the only thing that validated me as a person was my external achievements. Like, I literally only thought that I was worth something if I attained my next medal. That's why I pursued like my master's. When I got the degree, I was like so happy about it. But at the same time, I felt empty again because I was like, oh, I take another step that the society tells you that you have to do. Great, but now what? So I had to like learn to validate myself, not only because of the external achievements, but just because of me being me. And it's really hard. It's really hard, but we have to work on that. Um, Also, something else that I had to unlearn was that being part of a team and competing, it's like you score a goal, you're good, or you did a wrong pass, you're bad. So not everything is black or white,
Hmm.
The key in life is in the grace, not in
Yeah.
one extreme or the other. That's why I also think that going through dark times doesn't mean that after that you have to like completely be the opposite and become a monk, and never do anything in life again, because that, in my opinion, is unhealthy as well. What is healthy, in my opinion, is to be able to choose whatever we want to do, and not be controlled by our behaviors in a way that we don't want to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have a lot of positive things that the sport life gave me, which is like the power that I have to, and the determination that when I want something, there's nothing that's going to stop me, nothing in the way, until I do that I want to do. So the
Hmm.
determination, the attitude in life, this is the most important. Being able to repeat the same thing over and over again every day, being consistent.
Yeah.
That's
Consistent. Yeah.
consistency. These are all the values that I learned in the sport, and that really they are the values that I have as a person now, and I will carry them through my life.
Yeah. The point that you made about the external validation of, the ticking the box and getting the medal. I've heard that a lot of times in sports where, a player might obsess over winning that title or that trophy. Kevin Durant comes to mind. He was obsessed with winning an NBA title, and then he wins it with the Warriors. And I think he mentioned on a podcast or interview that, he woke up either the next day or shortly after the parade, and he was like, okay, like that's it. Like I don't feel any different than I did a week ago, even though I had
Yeah.
supposedly achieved what I considered my life's goal. but it's because I think, as he said, and as you said, is that you were seeking that external validation versus the internal validation. So how did you rewire yourself to start seeking that internal validation? And was part of it having those skills of being able to repeat things and be consistent?
What changed and made me like be able to change that brain wiring was that I literally have this thought every day of my life, and it's that life is a ladder to nowhere, like literally to nowhere. There's nothing at the top that we know. So instead of focusing
Hmm.
and waiting to get to the top to see what there is up there, we need only to concentrate in building and refining that ladder to have the best ladder and the nicest ladder and enjoying like going up that ladder, right? Instead of trying to see what's at the top, because that's an answer we're never going to have. And also being
Mm-hmm.
empty and having that feeling, little feeling of emptiness, it's the motor for us to keep on achieving and doing different things. So it's good that we have a little emptiness and we don't have to be constantly trying to fill it with things, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah.
That's
So it
what I
sounds like
think.
a combination of not being complacent, but also enjoying the journey and not focusing so much on the end goal or the end
Yeah.
purpose. It's about enjoying every step on that ladder.
And believe me, it's very difficult because
Mhm.
how many people say, enjoy the process, don't focus
Yeah.
on the outcome? Everyone says that, you know. But in reality, if you literally try to feel that and concentrate, that if something even goes wrong today, like whatever, just enjoy the wrongness. It's an exercise, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's an exercise and it's the most difficult thing. But we don't have any other thing to do in this life, right? So why don't just try this?
I definitely see you're very insightful. I definitely see why you're pursuing being a health coach, and I can definitely see a lot of benefit from what you offer.